Oh, wait, no longer. Greatness has arrived. Welcome to the Trophy Room Reviews and Breaks Down The Last of Us HBO show, episode 2. I am your host, Joseph. Alongside me, the greatest co host, whoever is, whoever will be, Mr. Kyle Stevenson. How are you, sir?
I'm doing fantastic in this moment.
All right, Kyle, listen, usually we walk in of like, what were your thoughts walking in? What were your thoughts walking out? But this time I have a question for you, sir.
Yeah.
They just keep nailing it, right?
Yeah. Just, yeah. I'm going to try really hard to do this every single week with you and not sound like a broken record.
Yeah.
Because I can already tell after 2 episodes that we're going to be gushing a lot about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not setting up me saying a negative about this episode because I have zero. One of those things that writers do or the producers do. Notes. I have zero notes.
No notes.
No notes. I think we should start, Joe.
Okay.
With giving such a huge shout out to Neil Druckmann. He directed this episode, and I don't know about you, Joe.
Yeah.
My favorite part.
Tell me.
Is how they made the clickers feel so damn horrifying.
Yes.
That is an enemy in the game where we encounter a ton of them. It's tense. They made it seem like we were going up against Freddy Krueger, Jason, Mike Myers combined. Right? Like the gravitas that they're giving to these clickers is perfect because I would feel that same sense of dread going into that. And that whole scene in the museum is just fantastic.
So, practical over CG, right?
Yeah.
No, I don't know how they're seeing through their prosthetics.
Yeah.
But yeah, first and foremost, the clickers look straight up out of the game. There's nothing different, right? Like usually when they do these adaptations, there's something a little off, right? It's like the Diet Coke to what is supposed to be regular Coke. It's like, no, even better. It's like we have a Pepsi instead of Coke type of like changes. This
Oreo's the Hydrox.
Oof. And we all know who the OG was. But yeah, the clickers in this episode, the one thing that I have to give incredible props to the team is like, as gamers, we've gone through literal hordes of these, and they do a great job of going, no. One is deadly enough. They are a struggle alone, let alone 3, let alone 4, 5, 6, a horde of them. You don't even want to go through one of these.
Yep.
And that is, amazing. And let's start it off here, Kyle. Let's start breaking down this episode.
Yeah. I know. I'm always going to throw a wrench into this. Just letting everyone know.
Here are the rules to the road.
I purposely don't tell Joe or talk to Joe about anything before we hit record.
Nothing. And we have no roadmap. No. All we're going to let you all know is there's going to be light spoilers throughout this episode and maybe allusions to what's going to happen in the future. But other than that, this is going to be what it is. So I want to give huge props to how they start this episode, which they start where the infection began, which is Indonesia. And they get this doctor in, and she is a fungal expert. Right?
Professor of mycology.
There you go. Science and stuff. Yeah. They bring her into the room where someone has recently been infected and, of course, is dead now. And right off the bat, the thing that I think they've done such a good job on is scaring the crap out of you from even before this thing has gone wild, which is she's an expert on this. And when they're asking for her advice, she's like, blow us all up.
Yep. There's no vaccine. There's no cure.
There's no cure to this. Drop bombs. My only request is that I be with my family.
Yep. And you see the fear and just sadness on her face. And yeah. It's fantastic. I love how it also logically it just ties into the first episode where you hear on the radio, right, of the bombings in Jakarta,
Yeah.
right, and these things about how there's a flour shortage,
Yeah.
right? There's a reason why Sarah couldn't make Joel pancakes. It's because they took them all out off the shelves
Yeah.
because of this outbreak.
And not only that, but Indonesia is one of the largest grain and
Yeah,
flour exporters.
grounded.
Grounded. And I think the thing that is so incredibly scary as we're getting out of a pandemic
Yeah,
is they're talking about how this one has starts and it's set like it's grounded in some sort of reality, right? Like we're buying this. And I think the thing that
there's no
scares
leaps of logic that we have to take.
none, or as a casual observer seeing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And the thing that scared the crap out of me, and it scares the crap out of the doctor, is when she's going through this corpse, and she sees that the tissue's been morphed when she's cutting into the leg, but when she's going down her throat and she pulls up what is live fungus, just kind of like a squid, tentacles just alive in this corpse still.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god!
And just hearing when she asked the question, like, how many of her coworkers have you not found?
Yeah,
and he says 14, and number 14 in the grand scheme of things, it's not a huge number when it comes to like the population of Indonesia or whatever, but you can tell just that number alone shook her to her core.
Yep.
Like it's already out of control. Those 14 people have just changed the course of everything.
Yeah. It's incredibly scary. And
yeah,
the one thing that I was thinking is like, oh wow, Indonesia is a small country, small in terms of like GDP and per capita, all that stuff. It's like we're already thinking, oh, an outbreak could happen in anywhere around the world, right? But we're thinking like America, sorry y'all, China, Europe. Mm-hmm. We're not thinking about the small countries that don't have like the CDC or anything like that can maybe even contain it. I remember when I was a kid, there was like the swine flu and it was in our area and they were able just to contain those people. And you're right.
Yeah.
Like they don't have the infrastructure in place. So this thing was just going to poof. It was incredibly scary. So they set, I feel like a great backstory of how these things interact. I feel like now we have the basic rules of how these things work, which Tess lays it out for Ellie. Which
God, what a great change.
Yes.
What another fantastic change that just makes this whole thing even more scary. Where like it's not just in the games you see spores, put the mask on, and then you're good as soon as you get to open air. No. You got to watch every single step. You step on one little piece of the hive mind.
Yeah.
Like one little tiny. It's very much like oh my god.
Tell me.
The Mind Flayer in Stranger Things.
Yes.
Right? Like you do
Great
one
connection.
one thing in this one area, the horde and everybody else are going to find out and they know exactly where you are.
Yeah.
And that is just absolutely terrifying because you're already in this world where buildings are being blown up. There's debris. It's hard to traverse anyway. But now on top of that, you have to be extra careful to not step on anything that is even remotely close to a tendril, a vine, or
and you're just seeing
fungal.
them. Like you see hundreds of them in this alley,
God,
and they're all just rolling around. And my mom's like, "What are they doing?" I go, "They're communicating."
Yeah,
like this.
When the sunlight hit them, they got warm, and then it was like a wave.
Yeah,
yeah.
It was. They're literally keeping their ear to the ground. Wow. God. All right. So let's get right into it here. We're back to Tess. We're back to Joel. We're back to Ellie.
Yeah.
We got to see more of Ellie. How do you like her interpretation of Ellie so far?
Oh, Bella's killing it.
Killing it.
Just killing it. The foul-mouthed teenager that we play in the game is Bella on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I love how, and this episode I purposely tried to take myself as a gamer out of it
Mm-hmm.
and just try to watch it as like somebody who has no knowledge of the games, as hard as that might be. But there are moments when they are talking on the overpass.
Yeah.
And Tess was like, "How'd you get bit?" And the story of how Ellie got bit. We know what happened, and just to hear Bella's portrayal of that and the things that she is not saying,
Mm-hmm.
like to me, I'm like, oh man, the people who have no idea are going to be
Yeah.
floored, but also in the same moment, being like, there's some mystery to how it happened. She's holding things back. She's not being 100% truthful.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many great things about her performance. The three of them in this episode just like crushed it.
Yeah. Ellie's performance. Jesus. Ellie
Yeah, I mean,
is.
yeah, she's Ellie.
She's Ellie. No bones about it. She's crushing in that scene in particular, how she's holding things back. She's not fully opened, because she doesn't trust them, and neither do they. The one thing that I like, she's like, so like, you're not like no boyfriends or anything like that. She's like, no.
I'm an orphan, and no. And they just lingered just ever so slightly.
Yep. And then Tess leaves for a moment. She's got to crawl through a hotel space, which they've already switched some things around very cleverly.
They sure did. There's no subway. There's no underground train station.
None of that. And the hotel is the hotel in Pittsburgh.
Yep.
And the cool thing, if you're a fan, is when Ellie is ringing the bell going, concierge.
That's an optional dialogue thing that you completely can miss.
Neo, we see you.
Oh my God, I loved it. So I had such a, that's the moment where I tweeted, like, I cannot overstate how much I freaking love this show.
Yeah. I was grinning like a big dumb dummy.
Oh my God. I loved it. I loved it.
This beautiful. There's a moment of Ellie and Joel actually getting a moment alone while Tess is going investigating of an open path. And you can see how they don't like each other. You know, they joke about like she's like, "Where are you from?" He's like, "Texas." You know, and Tess is from Detroit, Michigan. She's like, "I know, I've been to school." And then when asking,
are you? Nope. Don't even ask.
Pass. Don't even ask.
Yeah. About the relationship, because it's so obvious.
It's so obvious. Yeah.
Yeah.
So then we get to see the clickers when we're in the museum, and there's a hesitance. They know that there is effery afoot here. They've been here before, obviously. There's a past here that they don't want to go back in. Joel looks, he bangs on one of the roots. He's like, it's bone dry. Maybe we got some luck. No, you don't. Because we walk in with two clickers in the room.
Well, not even before that, where you walk in and they're casing the open foyer area. Yeah. And Ellie turns the corner and there's like a fresh kill.
Yep. There's
somebody fresh dead with fresh blood. And she starts asking questions, which brings me back to my earlier point of how I love how they made the clickers feel in the show. Mm-hmm. And give them more weight, even though they're already terrifying in the games, but they're even more so here. Where she's like, what did this to him? And Tess and Joel are not saying a word.
Yeah.
Because, like, when I got attacked, it was nothing close. Nothing could do this type of damage to it.
Yeah.
To us. Like, it's... And then the whole way up where Joel's like, okay, from this point on, we are silent.
Not quiet.
Silent. Which I love. I love that line.
Yeah.
And then they, they're making their way up. Ellie steps on...
A literal
bone?
Corpse. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a corpse or something, right? Makes a noise. They all freak out. They wait a moment. And then ripped straight from the games, the doorway collapsing, the beam in the same way of the game, except they weren't separated. Like in the game, they're all together. And then here comes the most tense 2-3 minutes of them just trying to be as quiet as possible as the clicker gets so freaking close until the point where Ellie has to make a noise because she's terrified.
And I think the amazing thing that they do here is they waste all their bullets.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just trying to shoot this thing, like they're making it out to be like this is not an action movie where they're getting headshots left and right.
Oh yeah,
this
no. Mm-hmm.
They're average
they're real people.
They're real people. There's bullet sway and whatnot, right? Or gun sway.
Yeah.
You know, there's a part where Joel gets separated by both of them, and he crashes one of the things to make space for him, like a museum sculpture, and so that it gets distracted off of that noise and not his.
Yeah.
And when he's reloading, it reminded me straight from the first trailer of him reloading and then just cocking back the gun, and just that enough is to trigger it.
Yeah.
But it also, with these two being experts at what they do, smuggling things in and out of cities, right? They still make mistakes because Joel steps on a broken piece of glass and makes noise for one of the clickers to literally jump off of one of the counters onto him, onto Ellie, and them being able together to fight it off and kill it.
Yeah.
Tense.
And if you've never played the game and you're just following along with the show, in the game, this is another instance where there's like 3 or 4 clickers, 8 to 12 runners.
Yep.
Just that you have to fight off with Tess and Ellie. And I'm really digging how they are making the combat scenes meaningful.
Yep.
And not overused, because it again, only 2 episodes in, but it feels it's better for the tension of the show as a viewer than every building they come in, they're killing something.
Yeah.
Even if it's just one runner, right, as they're walking up to the building and they do headshot it or whatever as they're walking up. That's like, in my eyes, that weakens the power that they have, the
tension,
how easily they can be overcome by them.
Yeah. So then we see the scene where there's hundreds of them, right? Or not even, sorry. Where they're on the rooftop. They just got out, right? Tess is from the game. We know she got bit, but she's irritable. She's pissed. She's like, I just sprained my ankle. Everything's fine. Okay.
And I love
how,
for the people who don't know the game and they're watching that, go, oh, she got bit on her ankle. Because she's not letting Joel get anywhere close to her ankle.
Nope.
I love that little swerve there. It's great.
And Joel senses something's up, but he trusts her. So they make it to the Capitol building, and something has. Sorry,
and the wood bridge.
Oh, and the wood bridge.
We got the wood bridge
from the game.
Straight from the game.
Her going up. Oh, I forgot. Great.
What a view.
Yeah. And then the shot that we've been seeing on every trailer of the silhouette of them, and they actually have the first bonding moment. It's a beautiful view, right?
Yeah.
Something along those lines. And Joel looks at her, she leaves, and you can see shit. I had a human moment with this kid.
Yeah.
Like he's scared because there's fondness growing through just their struggle.
It's no longer a job. There's feelings involved, or at least the beginning of them.
The door is cracked.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Go for it.
Before I forget, when they were walking over the overpass, it took me a second, but the giraffe plushie.
Yes.
Nice nod.
Nice nod. Also, she jokes around too before we get lost in the sauce here.
Yeah.
When they're on the overpass, before everything happens, she's joking about, these infected, and she's like, oh, so there's not like huge ones that like throw spore on you or whatever, that not that we've seen. And then they're like, what about the ones that are like
can't see in the darkness, or
and they're silent,
need light or whatever. Yeah, and they're silent. Yeah.
And Joel mentioned something too. She's like, when Ellie asks him, how long do they last? And he's like, some could be 2 months. There's some that's lived till 20 years.
Yeah.
And it's like, Joel has seen shit we have not yet.
There's a reason why he hasn't gone out smuggling in a long time.
Yes. So now we get to the Capitol building, right? Make a long story short, a big change here, right? Would you like to explain for the audience at home?
Sure, yeah. So they get to the Capitol building. They're waiting for the Fireflies.
Mm-hmm.
They see a van, which technically would have been the Firefly van truck. People are dead on the outside. They walk inside. All the Fireflies have been taken out. And then we get pretty much the scene that is pretty close to the game
Yep.
of Tess. You can see Tess. She's like, come on, we got to get her to the Fireflies. She's rushing. She's like, we're going too slow kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because, we know she's been bit and she's wants to make sure that this transfer goes as smooth as possible because she actually believes in it. And then we get the whole thing where she reveals it to Joel. She takes the shirt down and says, look,
Our luck had to run out sometime.
exactly. Oh, that line. And then she goes, Ellie, take off your bandage, because Ellie also got bit in the museum, which I don't think is from the game.
No.
Ellie's unscathed in the game, right?
Yeah, and I think it's because they needed to see visual proof.
Yes. Yep.
That she isn't turning.
And for the audience as well.
Yes, they need confirmation more than proof. Yeah. And
Ellie takes it off. It's just a regular cut. It doesn't look nearly as bad as Tess's. And
she makes light of it too when they're out of danger the first time around, which is like, well, if anyone's going to get bit, better it be me.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Nope, not the case.
Yeah. And then Tess has that heart-to-heart with Joel, and like, you have to do this. At least bring Ellie to Frank and Bill's.
Yeah,
they'll know what to do with her.
They'll know what to do with her, and so they change up. Some of it's 1-to-1. Like again, our luck had to run out sooner or later. Yep. When she's proving, look at her bite. Look at mine. This is 3 weeks. This is 3 hours. Yeah. But she just says it like, you have to take her. And he never says yes. Mm-hmm. Take her to Bill's, he never says yes. He's reluctant the entire way through. And the change here of them getting to the Capitol building, and it's not Fedra that's taking them out. It's one of them got infected. And that one took everyone out. They ran and everybody lost. Yeah.
That horde from yeah. You're talking about the Fireflies inside the building.
Exactly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And the thing that we see here is when there is one that is a straggler, he shoots it in the head, rightfully so, one would assume. But he notices when he does that, tendrils are around it. He made noise. He awoke in the hive mind. Now the hive mind knows exactly where they are. And he goes, we have a minute. The horde, when they're getting up, is scary as shit. It does seem like there's thousands heading right towards her.
And that's another change from the game where it is Fedra that is coming to the Capitol building.
Exactly. For another sweep.
Yep.
A brilliant change. Because, why Fedra wouldn't really give a shit. Oh, you're out here in the middle. Who cares? You're going to probably die. Like,
they were just walking out in the open. Like, how would they not see them at that point?
Exactly. So
if they were around patrolling, they'd obviously hear and see them by their time outside of the QZ.
Brilliant changes. I love this, and it makes the infected way scarier. And of course, they start running. She gets a gun. She tries to get a lighter started, right, to set this house aflame. And she's gonna buy him time, just like how Tess does with Fedra. Now, the thing that was scary to me is we see her metamorphosis happen. She twitches a little bit in that Capitol building. But even scarier is that all the infected are running past her because they already know she's bit. They already know she's one of them. Mm-hmm. And the creepy one and she's, first off, this is a human reaction. She's mortified. The lighter's not working.
Yeah.
And one of them finally approaches her and open mouths her, which I felt in this for a split second. All right, this is a little weird, but it was kind of the marriage of her becoming one of them, and then finally the flames starting, or her getting the lighter out and then throwing it on the gasoline she just poured with all the munitions that the Firefly just had, and just the whole building blowing up and her taking out the horde that would take Ellie and Joel.
Which then takes away from the game where Tess has this firefight with Fedra, takes a bunch of them out, and Joel and Ellie are going up the Capitol building to find a way out. And in the game, there's a moment where you can look over the edge and see Tess just recently being shot and dead on the floor. But now that whole building is blown up. They're out of it. We don't get any of that Raider Fedra fighting stuff.
You have pure confirmation now that she's done.
Yeah, she is done. There's no coming back.
Funny enough, I got a lot of texts from friends who this is their first time ever experiencing it. And they're like, they killed Anna at episode 2. And I'm like, yes. I just simply go, yes. It's amazing. This time around.
Please watch Fringe, by the way, everybody. Get more Vanator from Fringe. It's great.
And, oh my God, what else? Oh my God. Mindhunter. Get that renewed. Netflix, what are we doing? Season 3. Hurry up. But yeah, just it ends on a shot of Ellie. They're going to Bill's. They're going to Frank's.
And Frank's. Yeah. Another change. Mm-hmm. They don't know Frank before.
Love the long shot of Ellie here though. Lingering on her.
I think that shot is her coming to realization just how important she is.
Mm-hmm.
And just how crazy this whole journey is going to be for them.
The gravity of the situation has finally fell on her. Yeah. Excellent.
Yep.
Of course, we got scenes for next week, which it looks like we're going to see a before and after. This is another 85-minute episode that we're going to be getting. I'm
when excited. You say before and after, are you thinking because of Frank?
Yes.
I think Frank is a part of the whole episode.
Oh, really? I think
because there is a scene with Joel and Ellie there, and I think Ellie's up with Frank at a gate. So and it's Bill and Joel having a conversation.
The way I see it is we're gonna see a before where we're going to understand the relationship these people have with each other, right? Bill, Frank, Joel, and Tess. Like, we're going to get to know why they know each other, why they're important to each other. And then we're going to get, and I think that's like 20, 30 minutes of the show. Then we're going to get Joel, Ellie going to Bill's, and it's the exact opposite of where it's been. And we're going to get backdrop and understanding as to why Bill is the way he is and why the town's booby trapped all to hell.
Sweet.
And that's what I'm thinking is going to happen next episode. I want to know your predictions.
I mean, they can go a lot of places. There is a lot of combat in this section in the game. A lot of clickers, a lot of infected.
Yep.
I expect that to be dramatically reduced, which I am A-okay with. And I'm expecting we see the first bloater. I mean, that is where we see it in the game.
Yep.
And I'm also expecting, now that we're 2 episodes in, not so much from Frank and Bill, even though I think you are right. We are going to get how they meet.
Yeah.
At the start of the show. I think every episode we're going to get a look at other people outside of Joel and Ellie.
Ooh.
To fill out the world, which brings me to what I really, 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 really want.
Tell me.
Whenever we get to that section where Henry and Sam are with us.
Yep.
And we go through those sewers. I want to see that civilization, that community in the sewers.
Yes.
I want to see I want to see Ishmael. I want to see the captain of that boat.
I want to see
what happened.
100%. Because what they're doing as well, some of the exposition that they're dumping is straight from the notes you pick up
It's
in the
the
game.
notes. Exactly.
So I can't wait to see how all that stuff's realized. There's just so much here.
There's so much.
And again, they understand the assignment. So I'm all in. They have not missed a beat yet. I love where this is going. I love the changes they've put in place. Full confidence in this team. Kyle, is there anything you want to highlight, shout out before we hit the road?
Sure, you can follow me on Twitter and all the social media places, as well as PSN and all that jazz at Mr. K-Step. Indie game coverage I do over at 61indie.com. That's SIXONEINDIE. 61indie on Twitter, YouTube, all that jazz. I don't know about you, Joe, but I feel like I want to play part 2, like sooner than later.
It's funny. My mother, because I would not spoil it for her, she's already spoiled some of it. For herself.
For herself?
She needs to know. So she's like, this happened and this happens. I was like, Miriam. I lied to her. I gave her one truth and one lie. And we'll see how it goes from there.
Here's a little check-in with your brother.
Yeah.
How do you like episode 2?
Loves it. Okay, so we got the newbie, right?
Yeah.
Madre, she's in.
Yeah.
We got Padre, who is definitely in now.
Yeah.
He's definitely in. We got Broseph, who is 100%. He's actually coming up to me. He's like, so how are you liking it? You're the diehard fan in this household. I'm like, they're not missing. I don't. Holy crap. So yeah, we're all in. And it was actually my mother. She called me literally earlier today. She's like, The Last of Us is on today. Are we gonna watch together? I'm like, wow.
Nice. Oh, I love that.
You need to relax. And at one point, I literally go, you need to stop. This is my favorite part, which is the test of the Capitol building. I'm like, I'll let you talk, but this moment you have to have dead silence. Right? Not quiet.
Yeah.
Silent. With that, you can find me over at Mr. Badbit. And of course, if you like this breakdown, links to the previous one down below. And also, if you like what we do here over at the Trophy Room, well, guess what? We're a weekly podcast where me and my best friend Kyle, that guy right over there, talk about the latest and greatest in all things PlayStation. So if you're on YouTube, make sure you hit like, share, subscribe. If you're a patron, well, you already know the spiel. And thank you so much. And if you're not, patreon.com/PS Trophy Room. It's the reason why we look so great, sound so good, is because of your generosity over at patreon.com/PS Trophy Room. And so with all that said, with all that out of the way, everybody, keep it what's about you and endure and survive.